if you had your time now, if it was a case of what you know now, put yourself back on into the design discussions, and how would you go about things differently, and or that versus also like what things did you think of then that just didn't make the cut at the time for the design? I don't know whether that's two questions or you can answer that in one.
It could be three.
Could be three.
So if I was to say, you give me three questions, and if I was to answer any one of those, what would be left on the cutting room for what would we have done differently? One of the things I think that's become pretty mainstream is not fitting out offices to the full category fit out, because A, because the incoming tenant doesn't want it, or B, because you put too much in or you don't put enough in, and so that's something that is a waste, and it's a waste for everybody. So that's something we probably wouldn't have done. Air source heat pumps would have been a nice thing to do. They hadn't really been developed. The idea that the grid could deliver that much power renewably was not around, so that would have been nice. Opening windows as well. And that comes with renewable energy. That comes with the idea that at certain times of the year, 6 months of the year, you can actually just ventilate naturally. So those are the sorts of things that we would have perhaps thought about. Terraces are something that you've mentioned. That is always a balance between the net space, which pays for the development, and just amenity. But I think that if I was to say that the victory, so those are things that one could be picky about. But the real victory was to have a client, to be fortunate enough to have a client and a transport company, TfL and Crossrail, that would collaborate together in such a way as to create the optimal package, and with some thinking by us as well, and by the engineers and many other people, come up with a package where those blessed vent shafts were moved off the Crossrail land into our client's land, where they're completely concealed. And if you go to Davis Street, which is the other end of the same station, they're up there poking up against the skyline. And it's not just that they don't appear on the skyline, it's also that you could then clear the site and have these routes through. And the routes through, the walkability, sometimes architecture is about inspiring, it ideally is. And if it inspires people to walk, if it inspires them to browse in the shops, if it inspires them to talk to each other, if it inspires them to enjoy the square and to enjoy the architecture of London, it's done a terrific job.